the question is, what is systems, systemic coaching? And that's why the question actually is systemic way of thinking is a different way of being, or a different way of observing reality and reacting to reality when you're a coach. It's not about talking about systems analysis, it's about being different or doing things differently. I could give several examples. One of them, for instance, is if I'm coaching an executive with a classical approach, I could focus on the executive and have a sort of 360-degree diagnosis or MBTI diagnosis on that executive. But I could coach the executive right away by just asking a simple question about who are the 10 most important interfaces in your professional life, or that influence the results of your professional life. Who are the 10 people that are most important? And for a CEO, the answer could obviously be, well, the 10 people in my executive team. But if the question actually looks around much more than this, it could be my main union representative, main supplier, main clients, main financial support, main partners on the market, main competitors. Who are the people, who are the interfaces, or what are the interfaces that are most important in ensuring my success? Then once we have this list, of course, we could focus on each and say, what can I do to make sure that this interface is a win-win interface and really adds to my success in the future, or the change of perspective, or create the future together, etc. By just working on the interfaces and ensuring that this person will work to improve the interface, the results will be multiplied by much more than just working on the person's qualities and capacity to do whatever. It becomes much more practical. And so this is focusing on the interface is much more of a systemic approach. Now, in a lot of coaching, people have a tendency to say, okay, I have a problem person, we need to coach this problem person, or there's an issue here, we need to coach the person or the location. But locations don't exist in systems analysis. What locations are is actually the result of the interfaces with the environment. So a same location, if you change all the interfaces, will completely change in potential. Now, another example is to say, suppose I am called to do a team coaching. Suppose I step in an executive team and watch a meeting. If I watch a meeting in terms of interfaces, I will probably notice that some people speak after others, that some people are in opposition, some people are in coalition, some people stay out, sometimes they come in. When do they come in, when do they come out? In a way, what's the collective ballet going on during this meeting? Now, if I get a good feeling for this, I could probably come to another meeting in a week with the same people on a different subject, and I may observe exactly the same ballet. In other words, what happens in a team meeting has nothing to do with the subject. It has to do with repeating the positioning or the interfaces between the people to come to a comforting or a repetition of the equilibrium. Sometimes this ballet actually comes to the same results, no matter what the subject is. For instance, at the end of a lot of meetings, the decisions may be, we need to have another meeting with other people because we don't have all the information and we need to study this more. Now, this happens in some organizations, but it happens on a regular basis no matter what the subject. So a lot of people think that meetings are focused on subjects. They're not. They're focused on repeating interfaces. In a way, the show must go on. Now you could go further and say, suppose a few people missed a meeting, or we fire some people and get some new people in. Well, very often you'll notice after a few months that the same show is still going on. Changing the people has not changed the process. Focusing on the process, on the interface, is what goes on in organizations. Organizations are interfaces. much more than people or content. So the quality of the interfaces will influence the results. Now we could go a step further. Suppose that I go on another level in the organization, 3 levels lower, and I go to another meeting with different people, different subject, different level. I may notice that the interfaces are the same, the roles are the same, played by different people, and the meeting outcome is the same than the one that happens in other places, other levels. So an organization's DNA in terms of systems is actually the repetition of processes in all the different cells. If we look for the power of DNA and think that it is in the matter, in material things, in the people, we may be beside the point, because if you take one element out and replace it with another element, you still have the same DNA. You still have the same process. So a systems analysis approach of organizations is looking at the processes and seeing how you can modify the processes without modifying the subject, without modifying the people, but to achieve a different result. The only way to achieve a different result is to work on the process and not on the content.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks.